social media, the more you invest into it, whether it's time, energy, or money in this case, if you can find somebody to do it for you or on your behalf, or hire someone to do it, the more that's going to bring people to you and hopefully equal more dollars spent, right?
And the TV ratings and everything.
Well, then don't cut this out. Leave this in there. What a weirdo. Bubba Flores. Bro, go down to the courthouse and change your name if that's what you're going to do.
And I say, hey, listen, I love the fact that you guys made the menu in that fashion, because in steps, people understand steps, right?
Carlos introduced us to the online ordering. Absolutely hated it. I dreaded it. But then I think once you get the hang of it and once you realize what a powerful tool that is to the food truck, it's game changing. And when I say that online ordering is...
Welcome back to Failure's Not an Option podcast. I'm with Adam and Carlos. We are filming episode 3. We want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching and leaving comments and sharing, and hopefully it can grow even some more. We'll go ahead and we'll have one of them kick it off. Go ahead.
I thought you were kicking it off.
Well, I kicked off the intro, so you can use that clip.
No.
I think it's a good segue.
Yeah, no.
All right.
So how was your weekend?
Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah?
It was great.
Time off?
Yeah, most definitely. Chilled out. Had some friend time. You know, we don't always get the time to step away and just kind of disconnect. Definitely good. Anaya and I went out for breakfast and stuff. Something that we normally do.
Is that your girlfriend?
That's my daughter.
Is one of the goals of the podcast? Are you in hopes that you could land a girlfriend if this gets big enough?
Hey, ladies, I'm single.
Hey,
there we go. So actually perfect, because I'm not big on social media. I don't know how to.
Maybe that's why you don't have a girlfriend.
Fair enough.
Kind of like why some food trucks don't have customers.
You
see the correlation there?
Yeah. I like it. So social media, one of our first topics is the role of social media in food trucking. Something that I get asked about a lot is, how do we find you guys? And last week you were making fun of me because I'm like, you can go on BFT. There's a really cool app, this, that, and the other. And that's because I'm just not good with social media. I don't know how to. So I have a Snapchat that I've had for 10 years or however many, but I've never gotten into that world, even back in the day when it was MySpace and all that. So
I think a lot of food truckers are probably in the same boat as you.
Because it's like the older generation maybe, and it's something that it's not familiar with. Obviously, we're not part of the older generation, but it's just not something
Just
that
got an old soul.
Exactly. There you go. I just never been into it. So Adam and I were speaking, and he told me, he's like, you have a bunch of friends that we don't have, like, you guys. And I never thought about it like that, and a lot of my buddies were in the promotion business and all of that. So like promoting and stuff, like late night crowds. So, they have a lot of access and a lot of pull to a lot of other audiences that we don't normally get, just us. So it expanded my mind a little bit. And I said last night, I was like, well, I guess tomorrow I'm getting a Facebook and an Instagram, because I have to be able to pull my weight. And just me disconnecting, not really thinking about it from that perspective, but I guess that's part of something that I have to do.
Yeah.
So I guess you could speak a little bit better on it, because you handle, the social media portion of it as well. So I mean, fill me in, bring me up to speed. How about that?
I think people forget that social media at its core is a networking tool, and it was always meant to be that when it was rolled out. It's not about entertainment, and I think over the years it has become more entertaining, especially with Snapchat and TikTok and all these apps that are designed to entertain us. or to capture our attention. But at the end of the day, it is a tool, and a very powerful tool, where if you leverage it correctly, it can definitely make a huge positive impact on your business. And it can make a negative impact as well. I mean, we've seen businesses, lose everything because of a dumb post or a rogue owner going on there and saying something that they shouldn't have, especially with, the hot social topics. It happened here in Tampa. It's happened across the country. But we have to keep in mind that it's a platform, and you're on stage when you're on social media. And the more you can take advantage of that platform, and the more that you can control your narrative, the farther your reach is going to be, and the more people you're going to be able to engage, and hopefully get them to come out to your truck and buy something from your small business.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I just never knew the magnitude of, I guess what I was missing out on. To me, it was always it was just
trap, thirst trap.
Yeah, and I never wanted to get
because you thirsty.
No, it's just that I never want to get caught up into something that is not meant to be that way. Like things are so sensitive, at points these days, and I never want to put myself in that position.
But you don't have to. You can keep it all, strictly business and professional, and just use it, like I said, as a tool, as a marketing vehicle to further your reach and to get people to come out. And people are always looking for new things to try and new ideas and fresh content. Really, I mean, social media, a lot of it is driven by having new content every day. Like, that's why we post new photos as much as we can. We got new short videos and reels and clips and everything on there, so that people can kind of see what we're doing, and hopefully we can get them engaged into coming out to the truck. Because at the end of the day, that's your goal, right? Is to drive people to you, whether it's through traditional advertising strategies like radio or television, or social media, which it's the current, probably the biggest platform out there. And as we get further and further away from TV advertising, I mean, I don't think it's ever going to go away, but the revenue streams obviously for digital marketing and digital advertising are higher than they've ever been, and that trend's just going to continue. So why not take advantage of a free tool? Because you have to remember, social media is completely free, right? So yeah, you can pay for advertising and pay to boost different posts, but you can still get a decent reach, especially if you play the game and look at the trends that are going on and use the right music. You can get a clip to go viral, and you don't even have to pay for it if you do it correctly.
So talk about that. Talk about that from the perspective of me. I don't know. I don't know how to log in. Okay. I don't know how to get there. Right. So tell me about what it takes to be able to reach a specific audience, because I'm sure that there are certain algorithms that are already built out to be able to dissect and reach a particular audience.
So social media is tough, especially for people that aren't really good with it, right? Or good with technology. So I guess my advice to someone like you who doesn't have the knowledge or the background or maybe even the time, like a lot of food truck owners don't have time.
I think that's, and when you say time, I think that's probably one of the biggest things with food truckers, because unless you have a designated marketing team, it's extremely hard, because outside of your normal posting, your schedules on Sunday, or showing up at a community or an event or something like that, and actually taking a quick photo of one of your foods, or if you have them in your photo log already and you're just putting it out there, to be able to truly capitalize and utilize your social media for marketing, it's hard because you don't have the time. You're running 2 to 3 man. So like I said, unless you have a designated marketing team that you're paying for, it's hard. It's all time.
So are you saying
100% time?
So fair enough.
But I think one of the other things that we missed is, everybody has, not everybody, but a lot of people already have their social media pages, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok. Everybody has their own personal pages, right? And then when you get a food truck, or when you start your business, whatever it is, you create a page for your business. But I think one of the things that we miss the most powerful tool that we have is our original page, because that's where you can share your content to your personal friends. And then that's how the wildfire starts. You know, whether you have 500 friends on Facebook or, 300 friends on Instagram, once you share that over there, and if, they're your friends and you're engaged with them, if 300 people share that post, they're sharing it out to their people. You know what I'm saying? Like if Carlos shows us
the multiplier.
Yeah. If he shares a post with me, then I share it. And then, my boy John shares it. It's just a viral.
So let me ask you a question. Are you saying that a picture of a sandwich or a picture of a burger or your Nashville chicken is just one picture saying, hey, we're going to be at this location? That's not good enough?
I think any picture, any content has the potential to go viral because there's no mathematical equation of, taking A plus B divided by C, and that's going to make it go viral. If that were the case, then, everyone would be going viral, right? They just follow a formula. But
everybody would be content creators and making millions just sitting at home.
Right. But there's no formula that is magically going to make content go viral. No. So the more content that you can create, original content, pictures, video, reels,
consistency.
It's like playing the lottery. You're never going to win the lottery if you don't play, right?
Exactly. Fair enough.
So it's one of those things, and you don't have to go viral to make an impact to your business, right? You don't have to have a post go viral. It's like you guys were talking about a couple minutes ago. Like if you can just get your friends and your family to share your post, and they get their friends and family to share the post, at the end of the day, whether a video or a picture goes viral, and 7 million people across the United States of America see it, that's great. It's going to raise like your
brand awareness.
But at the end of the day, like if they're not local, they're not going to fly into Tampa just to try your food truck.
And we don't have a brick and mortar either. So like, even if they're from California and they have family members in Tampa, like, they may be able to catch us at a community or something like that. But I mean, I think that is more geared towards like trying to make viral videos and stuff like that is more geared towards like brick and mortar people
or retail because
you can order something. You're trying to get the people to come to you,
right?
In our predicament, we're coming to them,
right?
So let me ask this question: social media, the role that it plays for us as a whole, right? What's the goal? Is the goal to go viral,
No.
to be able to get additional
followers,
or is the goal to be able to reach enough people within that particular area that we're vending at that day in order to get them to come to
it's not just reaching the amount of people. Like you could throw viral out the window, right? Like we've said viral a couple of times, but like I don't like that word, because like when you talk about viral, you're talking about millions of views and stuff like that. Like I would say like 250,000 is probably viral, quote unquote.
Because I was having a conversation this weekend, and I think a couple 100,000 was the number that came up.
Yeah, go viral. Yeah,
and there was like maybe 200 something comments, and apparently like that's a good thing.
Yeah.
No, I think the goal for us as a food truck owners and small business is just to promote, right? It's just your basic marketing. We're just promoting our product, and our goal is to get as many shares and likes out there in our communities, right?
So
the
communities that particular community that we're at there, the goal for social media for us, right? Because of the level of the food trucks at the moment. Now, if we get a brick and mortar later on, God willing.
And it's not just based on the community that we're serving, right? It's brand awareness as well. Brand awareness in the Tampa Bay, area.
Okay, cool.
And that way, somebody, one of our friends, Lisa's my friend, right? But she has a friend, Jennifer, that works at, a big corporation. They're looking for a food truck. Like that's the real goal. Like, hey, we want to do a luncheon for our, employee appreciation. Do you know anybody? Absolutely. Or they can just see it organically off their friend's page.
Fair enough.
Right. At the end of the day, you want impressions. You want to put your brand in front of people, and social media is just a tool that can help you
shares.
do that.
Like that's what we're looking for. Views, likes, and shares.
So I just want to touch base on the social media part for the food trucker or for the person that owns a small business that doesn't have the time. Right.
Time or experience, like you.
Time or experience, right? Just like me. What are my options? Do I pay somebody? And if so, how much do I pay somebody?
Um, it's kind of a loaded question because, food truckers try to do as much as they can as possible themselves because, our margins, like if you're paying, it goes back to that conversation where if you're paying for everything, you're not making any money, right? If you're paying every time you need an electrician, a plumber, anything at all, a skill set driven portion of the business, you really don't make money, right? But what food truckers kind of fail to realize is that social media will drive you money. It's not like an electrician where you need, to fix a wire. And if it's something that you can do yourself, then that's great, do it. But that's not going to bring money to you. It's going to fix an issue that you have that you need to make money. But with social media, the more you invest into it, whether it's time, energy, or money in this case, if you can find somebody to do it for you or on your behalf or hire someone to do it, the more that's going to bring people to you and hopefully equal more dollars spent, right? So at the end of the day, if you don't understand something, for example, taxes, like I don't do my own taxes because I just don't understand tax law. I don't understand, the forms that have to be filled out, the process. So I pay someone to do it. I would do the same for social media because it's that powerful. Like you can make such a huge positive impact on your business. Why not pay someone to do it for you? Now, who you pay to do it, that could be, there can be some questions there, or there can be some exploration there. I know, Adam, you mentioned in the past, like you can just have an employee do it, right?
Yeah, like it all depends on your budget. Not everybody has the budget to go out and pay a marketing company, right? There's multiple marketing companies out there in Tampa Bay, and it's continuing to grow. Like it's a wildfire of social media because that's what everything is based on right now. So you don't have to have, if you don't have the budget to go out and pay somebody $2,000 a month to control your social media for you, at the end of the day, if you have an employee on your truck or if you have a child, right? Like a lot of us have kids, right?
Teenagers.
Yeah, and our teenagers, are 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, like, and they're involved in social media, So if they understand it and they know how to post and they know the hashtags and stuff like that, like, you could throw $50, $100 at your kid a week to say, hey,
yeah,
just post my stuff every day, right?
And it'll give them incentive. Maybe it sparks something within them.
And that's the thing too. Like you can set them on timers too. So
right.
it's not like, oh no, I got to get in here and post. No,
you can schedule it.
Yeah, you can create a post and schedule it. And it's going to post at the scheduled time that you wanted.
Yeah.
Or if you have an employee on your truck that is good with social media, if that's your problem, if the problem is you are not efficient or you don't know enough about social, you're not a technical person. Just find somebody. And it's not, like I said, you don't have to go out and spend $2,000 on a social media company. It's just consistency is key. With anything that you do in life, consistency is going to be key. So if you have that one person that can just at least say, post your schedule once a week, right? Start there. Start there with consistency of posting your schedule. And then once you got that down, then start with, hey, let's do a promotion post, not a paid promotion, but like a photo of one of our menu items or a photo of our menu or an extra post of, hey, we're going to be at this food truck rally, right? Start there. Start another one, right? So now you're at your weekly schedule post you got down. Boom, we're there. And then start there. That way it's baby steps until you can get there and until you can get to the point where, hey, like we're rolling now. Like,
right.
This is good.
And to be effective, you don't need to do a daily post, right? Especially if you're not looking for it to take if you're not looking for it to take up a ton of your time, you like you said, you start with a weekly post and then maybe 2 to 3 more posts throughout the week, almost every other day. And that in some cases can actually help your engagement, because if you flood social media with too much content, then people kind of skip through it. It's just like, when you're watching your reels on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, someone that posts every day, it almost becomes annoying and you're like, oh, this person's always posting, or they have like the reels that's like 17 reels in once. I think that's overkill, right? Now you're clicking 17 times just to get past that person. And what you don't want is people like muting you or turning off notifications when you post things, because now it allows you to actually do that to individual users. Like if you have someone that is annoying you or you're tired of seeing their content, you can mute their notifications or mute their stories or posts without unfriending them. And you don't want that to happen. So you don't want to have, 700 followers and only 200 followers are watching your content. So, being strategic with it, posting strategically can definitely help with engagement. And it's like you said, you don't have to do it every day. You don't have to do it yourself. You can schedule it. So there's just a lot of options out there, but it is super important to have a social media presence.
So what I hear is consistency. Dollar ranges from anywhere from $400 a month to maybe $2,000 a month if you really want to.
Or zero if you do it yourself.
Or zero if you're doing it on your own.
Yeah.
And not overcrowding somebody's inbox or somebody's
don't spam the feed.
Don't spam.
Don't spam the feed.
Don't spam the feed. All right, nice.
Perfect.
All right.
So I have a great example or a great story about social media and how it can impact the business. So I have a cousin that does barbecue, and I'm not going to mention the name of his restaurant because I don't want to give him any help because he already dominates the market. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to Wicked Oak Barbecue and Bubba Flores.
Fox 13, he's going to be on it too.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
3
back
days
that up.
this
You
week.
said Bubba Flores, fucking Jumanji, bro.
Yeah. Why?
You said Bubba Flores.
That's what he goes by
Yeah.
on all his media and everything.
Bubba Flores.
Yeah,
Yes.
and the TV writings and
Hey,
everything.
well then don't cut this out. Leave this in there. What a weirdo. Oh, Bubba Flores, bro. Go down to the courthouse and change your name if that's what you're gonna do.
So it's Felix Flores for those of you that don't know, but Bubba is he goes by Bubba his entire life.
Bubba. It's Bubba with Wicked Oak.
So the story that I'm trying to tell here is so recently, probably about a year ago, he invested into TikTok into a TikTok person or a creator to come into his restaurant, his location, and he does videos. Yeah, his establishment. He does videos on a weekly basis. So, every week he releases a couple of videos and they go on TikTok. He's had videos go viral. But he was telling me that at first he wasn't so sure about whether it was going to be successful or not. And then people started seeing him or coming into the restaurant and they're like, "Hey, aren't you that guy from the barbecue guy from TikTok?" And he said that he was surprised by the amount of sales or the amount of customers that were driven to his location just because of those TikTok videos. So when you talk about success stories, that's a perfect example of how TikTok can really make a difference, or social media in general can really make a difference, because believe it or not, people actually are watching that content and they do recognize you. And if you're someone like Bubba who's got great character and great personality, it could really help you reach new consumers and drive business back to you.
I literally just got done having this conversation with him on Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Side
They're
note,
hey, you're the barbecue TikTok guy.
Side note, he came out of his shell completely, which is great.
Personality-wise?
People can actually see who he really is.
Yeah, it just
right?
adds character.
100%.
It adds character to your brand, to your business. People want to know who is behind it, and they want to be able to connect with you as a person as well.
But I'm going to give you the detail that really sets it into place. He flipped, the 70-30 business model, Uber Eats to storefront traffic, completely on its head. 30 now Uber Eats, 70%
walk
by
in
door.
Yeah.
And no money was lost.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it just
drives traffic into your business,
which is it turns
organically,
which turns the table, which is
profitability.
Why I said, which is why I said, hey,
now you're not sharing money with you're not sharing money with a
platform,
and I have to do my and I have to do my part.
Yeah,
that's what also triggered plus the conversation. It's like, man, that's awesome. That is absolutely insane. So when it comes to the social media posts, what are going to be your main attractions to your social media posts?
In terms of content, what content should you be posting?
Yeah, absolutely.
You should be posting pictures of your food, video, behind the scenes footage. Like people love to see like the actual cooking taking place, things like that. New menu items, like anytime that you are launching a new menu item or a completely new menu, because some of us have like seasonal menus and things like that.
Nice.
You want to post all of that so that people are aware. Like at the end of the day, you're trying to build awareness, not only of your brand, but things that you've actually got going on or things that are upcoming, changes that might be upcoming or on the horizon as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about building the perfect menu for your truck and like what that entails and where do you even start, right?
Seasonal menus or
seasonal menu, like what? I guess I don't know if I would say seasonal menus, but I mean it's just built when we say building the perfect menu. I don't know if there is really a perfect menu for a food truck because you're constantly going to be evolving it, right? But you need a good starting baseline, right? So whatever your concept is or whatever your branding is based off of, right? So you need a baseline menu, right? So you need something that's identifiable to the consumer of what your food is going to be or what you're going to serve. But I think long term, like your menu is constantly evolving, as we've seen through all of our trucks. Like we're constantly changing what's working, what's not working. What trend can we follow? Yeah, what trend can we follow? What can we elevate? Are we just going to throw a chicken sandwich on there, or can we elevate that chicken sandwich? And maybe you ran with a chicken sandwich for 6 months and it was doing great, and then started falling off. But now you take that same chicken sandwich and you add 2 things to it and you elevated it. Yeah, So like what do you think it takes to build that perfect menu for your truck?
I think the first thing is you've got to stay within your concept. And I see way too many trucks in the market get too far away from their concept, and then all of a sudden their menu speaks nothing to what is on the side of their truck, right? Or what their marketing, what their branding is. A perfect example of this is we have a truck in our market here in Tampa that has shish kebabs on the side of their truck, yet they don't sell kebabs, right? So, throughout the day, consumers go up to the window, they want to order kebabs, and the truck doesn't sell kebabs. They do sell Mediterranean food. The truck is Mediterranean inspired, but they got away from the kebabs, which, on a side note, that's one of the reasons why when we're doing consultations or when we're talking to new food truckers that are coming on and trying to build a brand or build a concept, or
you never put photos of food on the side of your truck
or names
or menus.
What if you get away from that item?
You never incorporate that into your wrap.
Yeah,
guilty.
Yeah, and it's just it's a best practice, right? And it's not something that you necessarily have to do. It's great advice to follow. You never want to lock yourself into a specific menu item because you just don't know if it's going to work or not work.
Yeah,
right?
And like when we're talking about building a menu, like it's funny that you say that now, because now I'm thinking back at it, and when you created your food truck, when you launched your food truck for the first time, you put photos on the side of the truck, and then you also put your actual menu items as part of your wrap.
So I didn't have photos, but I did have.
Oh, you had the actual
menu,
the actual menu items on the back
yellow
half.
font.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was peer pressure.
That was a part of the wrap. That wasn't a magnet, right?
By the graphic designers that did a great job.
You were bullied.
I
did a horrible job, but go ahead.
They did a great job, but I didn't know. I know you told me about it.
And after 3 months, after 3 months,
2 of those items came off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're still stuck on the side of your truck, and people are still walking up asking for those items, because the only way that you get rid of it is if you just put duct tape or scotch tape over it, because you're not going to go back to the wrap shop after you just spent $5,500 on a wrap to rewrap that piece.
That section.
Yeah.
And I think in your case, it was on multiple sides of the truck, right?
It was on both sides.
On both sides, yeah. So,
ouch.
Getting back to designing the perfect menu or putting together a menu for your truck, you want to stay within your concept, right? So if you've got a Latin concept, you can do infusion from other cuisine types, but you want the base of it to be Latin, right? So you should never be a Latin truck and not have Latin items at all on your menu, because we've seen that before too. Or vice versa, where, you're a sandwich truck and all of a sudden you don't sell any sandwiches at all, right? So at the end of it, you have to make a choice. You either, stick within your cuisine type or you rebrand your truck whenever you got a menu. But getting back to the fundamentals of menu building. So you want to stay within your concept, right? If you have a Latin food truck, you want to offer Latin style food. Then once you're past that, you want to do some research and see what the top selling items within your cuisine type is. And I think that food truckers sometimes, especially when it's chefs or people that are back of house people that are starting in the business, which a lot of us are. We have kitchen backgrounds where, we really didn't have a lot of exposure to marketing or the business side of things. But sometimes we get stuck on, the food, and we get laser focused on the food so much that we want to provide our customers with a new experience or something they've never had before. But when you're running a business and you're trying to run a successful business, you can't go too far from what is already established and what works. The reason that, these huge companies all have similar menus, these huge food chains like Applebee's and Chili's, right? Super similar menu. All of the fast food burger places, the menus are almost identical. All of the chain taco places or Mexican inspired places, they all serve the same food. There's a reason for that. The reason is, people know what they want. They know what they're comfortable with. People are willing to try new things, but they're not willing to go too far from what they already know. So it's baby steps when you're introducing, new menu items or new flavors to a consumer for the first time. A perfect example that I give customers or that I give people all the time when we're talking about this is, how many do you guys like Mexican food?
Yeah.
Love it. This is my favorite cuisine.
Your favorite cuisine. So what's your favorite Mexican restaurant?
Gran Agave.
Okay. And why?
Because every time I go to a Mexican restaurant, authentic, my go-to to test the authenticity is the mole sauce.
Okay. So you love authentic Mexican cuisine.
100%.
What about Chinese?
Yeah.
Authentic.
I don't think there's authentic here in Tampa.
Maybe not in Tampa. So the point I'm trying to make is, so I also love Mexican food, right? And I should probably be embarrassed to say this, especially on camera and on video, but one of my favorite places to eat for any Latin inspired food is Chipotle, right? There is nothing authentic about Chipotle. Nothing, right? It is it is a Latin concept, Latin/Mexican concept that has completely been watered down and Americanized, right? But our target consumer are American consumers. Yep. Like we're in America, with food trucks specifically. A lot of the consumers with mobile food trucks, because it's different when you're a food truck that's parked on the side of the road and you can serve a lot more authentic dishes there because people are coming to you. But when you are a mobile food truck and you're going to the masses, you've got to look at what those demographics are. And for most of us, it's middle America, middle income America. The demographic is, it's skewed to people who have a lot more expendable income, it's an affluent customer base for the most part. And a lot of our customers want Americanized versions of, cuisine types, right? They want to feel safe. They want to feel comfortable. You should always have a safe item on your menu. So for example, on the American truck, we have a BLT. It's a standard BLT, or we have the American burger. Right? Because it's that classic safe option, and you should always have a safe option that people that walk up to your truck might not be so sure on, some of the menu items that you have available, but then they spot that comfort level and they go, oh, you know what? I'll just have a BLT, or I'll just have, the classic American burger. And if you don't have those options available, then people could come up, look at your menu and walk away.
And I think you bring up a really good point when you're talking about menu options, regardless of your menu, right? So you can be a authentic, right? You could say my truck is going to be an authentic Mexican cuisine truck, right? But you should always have items on there that say a family of 4 come up with a husband, wife, and 2 kids.
Kids items.
Kids are picky.
Yeah.
Extremely picky. So like that's one of the things I was just thinking about when you brought that up is we own a Latin truck, right?
Yep.
Where all of the cuisine type all the food on the truck is Latin inspired or Latin related, but we sell chicken tenders and fries.
We do.
Have to.
Have to, right? So
We sell chicken tenders and fries on all 3 concepts.
exactly, and they sell.
Right.
That's what's crazy.
Absolutely.
And it's not just the kids that are buying them.
Nope.
It's the adults. They do really good at lunch shifts.
Yep.
So like it's that making sure that you're able to feed the entire family at your truck. Versus, especially when it's really important when you go to rallies and stuff like that. So that way the family's not bouncing from 3 trucks and they have to, juggle 3 different plates and
Right.
the wife has to go sit down with the kids
Or wait in 3 different lines.
or wait in 3 different lines, right? Make sure that you can take care of the entire family right there with you.
I like that.
And and also thinking back of when
Drinks, same thing.
yeah, drinks the same thing. Offer a variety of drinks. And then thinking back to when you were saying, how don't fix what's not broken, essentially, is what you were trying to say.
Absolutely.
When you're talking about these chain restaurants and stuff. If you pay attention, there's a McDonald's. When a McDonald's comes up on the corner, there's going to be a Wendy's right behind it.
Or a Burger King.
Or a Burger King right behind it.
Right.
And so they're not saying, oh, we're going to come in here and compete. They're not competing against each other.
Nope.
At all.
Nope.
If a McDonald's comes in first, Burger King or Wendy's is coming right behind them because they just let McDonald's do the survey for them to figure out if that area can support it. So once McDonald's comes in and like, yeah, we can support this area, Burger King or Wendy's is going to slide in and they just save themselves money.
Right.
And it's not just food as well. It goes for, auto parts. You have an AutoZone and then O'Reilly's builds right across the street from you. It's not competition.
Well, no, and at the end of the day, like our target audience, it's the same target audience across the board for most food trucks. Like we're all serving the same consumer. It's not like we're not in a specialized industry where people are looking for specific brands to get specific parts or retail items or something like that. Like our consumer eats from most of our food trucks.
Yeah.
Whether you're a taco truck or a burger truck, or a seafood truck, like it's generally the same consumer.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Tampa Bay region, I feel, and that we're extremely lucky to have diversity, right?
100%.
Like our complete Tampa Bay region is extremely diverse, all walks of life from everywhere, and it's not like, so if you were in, say, Miami, right? Or specific parts of Miami, like you're not going to go down there with a burger truck because it's not going to work.
Right. It just depends.
Yeah, because that's not your consumer that's down there in Hialeah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In Hialeah, you're going to have...
You better have a Cuban burger.
Yeah.
You better be pork-based.
Yeah, you're going to have Latin food trucks, or you're going to have taco trucks, or you're going to have Mexican cuisine type. Like, so for us, and especially the areas that we service, we're extremely lucky for them to be as diverse as they are. Yeah.
And I think that whenever you're rolling out a concept or whenever you're doing the research to roll out a concept or when you're building your menu, you need to know what the demographic in your area is in order to be successful long term, because there's a lot of specialized trucks that don't make it because the demographic's just not there. Like, for example, Polish trucks in Tampa, I've seen them come and go probably 6 or 7 in the last 4 years.
Is that like sausages with the fennel in them?
Yeah, and then like the German inspired dishes, and it's just there's just not a huge demographic in Tampa that consumes that food type or that cuisine type.
It's a very niche food type.
Yeah, so you don't want to limit yourself to items or those types of items or cuisine types when your demographic isn't there to support it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to building that perfect menu and getting it out to the public, sharing it, liking it, all of that good stuff, right? What about the truck that's next to you that has a similar concept? Right? You said McDonald's and Wendy's and all these guys open up together. You said it's not a competition thing. What about the truck that's next to you that ends up seeing that you're successful with a particular item and
steals it?
Is it stealing? I mean, there's enough out there for everybody.
Yeah, so it's funny because we with the Latin truck, we've had a lot of success with the Latin truck, and I think that
Amen.
people have seen that success and have borrowed, ideas or menu items from that truck. And
Does that upset you?
it doesn't. But I've had food truck owners call me and like, hey, like, did you see this truck over here? They copied your menu, they stole your item. And I've had other food truckers get upset when trucks have stolen their ideas. And they're like, can you believe that she used my chicken tender picture and my chicken tender basket on her online menu? And they didn't even sell chicken tenders. And now they're selling chicken tenders and they're just trying to steal my customers away. And it's like, hold on, pump the brakes. At the end of the day, we're all in this to make money. And if something works, I'm not going to get mad at one of my peers if they see that, I'm blowing it out of the water with Cuban sandwiches and we're in Tampa and they want to serve a Cuban sandwich. If you have a food truck in Tampa or a restaurant in Tampa, you should have a variation of the Cuban on there because Tampa's known for Cubans, right? So even though I'm a Cuban food truck or we have a Latin truck that's Cuban inspired, I'm not going to get upset if someone, borrows our Cuban, or it could be the exact same menu item with the exact same ingredients. At the end of the day, people don't just go to your brand or your food truck for their menu items. It's about more than just the menu. It's about, customer service, quality, cleanliness. Like it goes back to like building that brand. But if another food trucker, borrows a menu item or copies a menu item, then good for them. Like, if I got a phone call, if I got a phone call and said, hey, Carlos, like, how do you make your Cuban? Like, I'm not afraid to tell them how I make my Cuban, because their success is my success, right? And at the end of the day, like, we're all in this to make money. And at the end of the day, my customers are coming to me for more than just that menu item. They're coming for the complete service that we offer, the cleanliness, the brand, like they're not going to switch their favorite food truck over one menu item.
So what if they dig a little bit deeper and they say, hey, not only, hey, how did you make that sandwich, but how did you price it?
Yeah, I mean, pricing is something that we all look at. I know me and Adam before events, like we've gone and walked people's menus and walked people's prices when we're at an event or a festival.
So you guys do recon?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be, you want to be in the same ballpark as everyone else when it comes to menu pricing, especially when you're building a menu. Like you don't want to outprice yourself or be under, because we see a lot of trucks that come onto the market and they're like, oh, I'm going to sell 3 tacos for $6. Well, how are you going to make money at 3 tacos for $6?
It's not just that. I feel like if you're creating a food truck or you're creating a new item or you're adding a new item to your truck, you should do the research. You should go out and see what other trucks are charging for that menu item. Because like I said, it's not a competition. Because at the end of the day, if this food truck is charging 15 and this one's charging 12, don't figure out you want to be 12 or you want to be 15, or hey, go in the middle, go 13.50 or something like that. Don't walk into the market and say, well, I'm going to sell it for 10 because
I'm going to undercut everybody.
I'm going to undercut everybody. I'm going to sell it for 10 and I'm going to get all the business.
Why not?
Because at the end of the day, all you're doing
Doesn't
is
always work.
At the end of the day, you're diminishing the product as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like now that
you're killing your ROI, your return on investment.
Yeah, it's not just about you. You're killing it for everybody now, because now what's going to happen is what happens when you're selling it for 10. Johnny just started a food truck. He goes in and he says 15, 12, and 10. I'm going to sell it for 8 now.
So now you're watering down
exactly. The market. Now you're not making money at $10. So now you want to beat Johnny. So you got to go down to $8.
But it gets to a point where no one's making money.
Exactly. And that's huge, especially on the catering side for another episode. But that is a huge talking point.
I love it. I love it.
And a lot of the times too, when customers see that things are too cheap, they think that they might not go with you because it's too cheap. And they think, well, you know what? If the going rate for something for a lobster roll is $20 and, this truck over here is selling it for 12, like,
is it real lobster? Is it
what's
imitation?
Going on here?
Yeah. What does the portion size look like?
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. I think that when a lot of times when people look at prices, they think portion size.
Yeah.
And that
they
was
want a
one
good
of the
value.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things that we used to get on the hibachi truck all the time, is when they seen our prices, they would say, hey, well, how big is the portion size? It got to a point where I just kept the stack of plates next to me and I had to keep showing them every time. you know, and until they realize like, oh wow, that's a lot of food, or they'll look at the plate and they would be confused. Like, I don't know if that's a lot of food. Like that's 32 ounces. That's full.
You get 2 meals in one.
Full to the brim. You know, I'm a big guy. We're all big guys, and I could not finish a meal
Right.
in the hibachi plate.
And it goes the other way too. Like a lot of the times people get upset because some food trucks, the portion size is very small, right? And they're like, well, I just paid, $15 for a burger and it looks more like a slider than it does a burger. And you don't want to be, that doesn't bode well for long-term success as a food truck, because people don't want to walk away and feel like they were just taken advantage of by your price point.
Just because you consider yourself to be a gourmet food truck, or
Right?
some type of gourmet cuisine.
And even if you do have a gourmet cuisine type where your prices have to be extremely high because the menu that you're serving justifies it, or the ingredients that you're using are just too high, you should also have that secondary
safe
menu. Right.
Those
You
safe
should have
items.
a few options that are priced lower so that you give people the options so that you don't alienate people, right?
Yeah.
Because it goes back to the point you made a little while ago where a lot of the times we see families, right? So if a family walks up to your truck and you're the only truck scheduled and you're a lobster truck, and all you have are lobster rolls that are at $20 or $25 for a lobster roll. I have a 5 and a 7-year-old. I'm not buying them a $25 lobster roll. You can forget it. So that might make the difference between me going to your truck or not going to your truck. So you better have tenders and fries, or if you don't have a fryer on your truck, a grilled cheese. Give me a lobster mac, right? Where you can put just a few small, pieces of lobster within that mac and cheese. But now I have something for my kid. So, me and my wife will spend $25 each on a roll, but then I want to spend $8 to $10 on the kids because at the end of the day, they're throwing away half of it anyway.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that also goes into the size of your menu, right? Like, so when you create your menu, how big should your menu be, or how many items should you have on your menu?
Man, that's a great question. It's
tricky.
And I think this is the piece that kind of gives people a safe zone, or food truckers a safe zone. You can pick items, right? Look at Taco Bell, for instance, right? Taco Bell has
a huge menu.
But guess what?
It's all the same ingredients.
It's all the same stuff.
Right.
It's all about presentation. When I had the Caribbean truck, people would ask about it, and I say, "Hey, listen, I love the fact that you guys made the menu in that fashion, because in steps, people understand steps." Right? So when you're looking at it from the perspective of what's my protein option, from my protein option, what's my presentation option, from my presentation option, what are my sauces? It makes it so easy and simplified. But when you really look at it, there are like 100 different options
Combinations.
that you can make.
There's different combinations.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to that, presentation options, maybe a few. But as far as the items within those presentation options, you've got to have variety.
Yeah, I think the general rule of thumb for most food trucks is having like 6 to 8 entree options available, and then 2 to 5 sides is what you see most food trucks come in at. If you're creative with your menu, like you were saying that you were with Caribbean Child and how we are on Latin Truck, I think we've got like 17 different entrees that are available, but it's all the same ingredients. Everything is.
Yeah.
And we just cross-use those ingredients to maximize our menu. And you also have to be careful because you don't want your menu to be so small that it doesn't appeal to everyone. You want your menu to contain enough items to where it would appeal to an entire household, or if it's a small, let's say you're doing a small office catering, which we do get where it's 20 to 30 people, you want it to appeal to as many of those people as possible because they might be voting on what truck they want out to their location. And if there's not something on there for everyone, or getting as close as you can to having something on there for everyone, then you're limiting your opportunities on that aspect as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that really stands out to me, because I hear it a lot, and it's something that can be easily identified, veggie options and a gluten-free option. You don't have to have like a crazy amount of stuff, but that inclusiveness is something that makes people feel welcomed whenever they're stepping up to look at your menu.
Yeah, I agree. And you don't have to have specific vegetarian items or specific vegan or gluten-free items.
Yep.
You can also let customers know, hey, if you do have an allergy or a specific dietary need or concern, we can modify it. Because that's the beauty of having a food truck
Absolutely.
too, is you can take ingredients away, add ingredients that that can kind of fit those individual needs as well.
Agreed.
A lot of that also depends on the size of your truck and how your truck is laid out. Because if your truck is a smaller truck, or if the truck is, say you have the large truck, like all of our trucks are large trucks,
Now.
18 foot, 18
Now.
foot boxes, like it all depends on how it's laid out too. Whether or not your menu items are even going to work and be able to flow inside the truck.
So coming from working the smaller Latin truck to going to a bigger truck, right? You see growing pains within that. Having that difference is a world. I mean, and you've said it from the very beginning of Tom. Like, bro, this is how you got to go about it. Take this, make the little changes. And I'm like, bro, I can't. Not right now. I'm in the mix of things. I'm trying to figure things out. He's like, but then now that, for instance, Caribbean turned into the American truck, seeing the little bit of extra stuff that was put into the truck, the minor changes and minute racks, shifting tables, getting a bigger prep table, cutting that table out, like those little layout changes make worlds of a difference.
Right.
Worlds of a difference. Time efficiency, right? Dependability with your workers, or you being able to access the items that you need, the whole nine. It changes the entire experience, and it also gives you time back.
It gives you time, and you're working smarter, not harder.
100%.
As much as that term is
It's
overused
cliche,
and
yeah.
cliched, but it's true. Like when you're looking at laying out your truck and having the correct equipment and making things as easy as possible, you've got to think about how that affects everything. And it's not just, making things easy. It's the amount of energy that it takes to execute, your menu or execute a shift. You got to think about your employees, especially when you're working like, doubles or long days. Like, it's not about making it easy. It's about, making it efficient so that you're not wearing yourself out or wearing your employees out. And obviously the natural things, like it's going to increase, having the truck laid out correctly will increase your speed of service.
Yep.
It's going to increase your storage capacity. That's a big one. It's going to increase morale. It's going to provide a better experience to the customer because of everything we just mentioned. When not all food trucks are built the same. And a lot of the times when you're looking at buying a food truck for the first time, and you're buying a food truck that's already built, you kind of have to adapt to what's already there, or know that you need to make significant changes to the layout in order to make your concept work within it. We've seen that with, a couple of the trucks that we owned or have owned in the past. And when we built out Hibachi, I think that we got that one right? And it's because of the knowledge and the experience that we had going into it and knowing what we would need to execute the concept. And if you have an idea in your head of what your concept is, then you need to make sure that you have a truck that's laid out correctly for it. Whether you're buying a truck, building a truck, or whether you have a truck and you're flipping a concept or rebranding, you need to set yourself up for success. For example, you want to tell the story with when we launched American, when we thought we were going to do wings and we couldn't do wings because of the limitations of the truck.
Yeah, one of the great examples is when we flipped our concepts and we launched the American truck. One of the crazy things is when we launched that truck, we thought that we were going to have specific menu items, right? So one of the ones that we thought we were going to be able to do was going to be fresh wings and boneless wings. But the way that truck was laid out, it was almost impossible to execute those menu items alongside everything else that we had.
Why?
is that?
You have fryers,
Yeah.
right?
You got
So,
3 fryers
yeah,
on that truck.
and
Not
that's-
only
It's plenty for
that's
wings.
6 baskets.
That's the biggest thing,
That's-
right? So my 3 fryers on the back end of the truck,
Uh-huh.
and my freezer and refrigerator is on the opposite end of the truck.
Hmm.
So in order for my fryer guy to get that stuff, he has to walk between my guy that's on the flat top, whoever's on the register, and it's back and forth in the middle of a rush because there's also no storage space on his side to hold the fresh wings or the frozen boneless. So in the middle of a rush that we get a lot, like what does that look like? The efficiency is not there. And I think that's one of the biggest things when people are thinking about purchasing a truck or a trailer is once you've created your concept, right? You have your concept in mind, right? Then you need to go to what are my menu items going to be? And once you've, like I said, we just talked about the menus. Like
Within the concept.
Once you figure out your base menu, figure out how that base menu flows on the truck. And to be efficient and to for everything to work correctly, like your truck has to be laid out right. And I think that's where you need to go and start seeing, hey, what do I need to change on this truck? Or if you're building a truck from the ground up, how do I need to lay this truck out?
So do you do practice runs? Do you do dry runs? I mean, what?
Yeah, on a piece of paper. When we built Hibachi, because we went to Miami, we built Hibachi from the ground up. The truck was purchased at an auction and then built from our builder. And we built it and laid it out on a sheet of paper or a cardboard box or a piece of extra stainless steel that when we were at the builder,
Yeah.
and it changed
7 times.
multiple times.
I remember.
Because we would build it out and he would put one thing here and then we'd have to go back. And that's the other thing. Like, you cannot be afraid to move stuff, right? I think the only thing that you really will ever get stuck with is the hood placement.
Correct.
Whenever you're building your truck, wherever your hood placement's going to be, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Or you could just get 2 hoods.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
But
then you're
generator.
covered.
Then you
Yeah.
have issues with generator and power supply and things like that.
exactly. And then like for our truck, for example, we have 2 6-foot hoods.
Both.
And
Both trucks.
and they encompass the whole side of the truck. So that's the other thing too, is what equipment do you need? Could you run with 1 hood or do you need 2 hoods? Because if you can run with 1 hood and have your fryer and your flat top or your stove or whatever underneath it, maybe instead of a 6, you go to an 8 or an 8 into a 10 instead of having 2 6s equaling 12. Like, that gives you more space to maybe have a prep table right next to your flat top. Like, those are things that you have to play with because you can't have a prep table under the hood because the hood's just going to suck all your refrigeration up.
Right.
So I think that's where the laying out of the truck is extremely important. And also remembering not to, if you're purchasing a truck or a trailer that's already been used that you found on Facebook Marketplace or whatnot, is not being afraid to
pull everything out of it.
everything out of it. Pull everything out of it and put it back in the way you want it and the way it works for you.
So
Right.
Tetris is a real thing.
It's a real thing on food
Absolutely.
trucks.
When Carlos originally bought the first original Latin truck 4 years ago, when he brought it home, everything came out.
I threw half of it away just because it wasn't commercial equipment. And that's another thing when you lay out the truck is making sure that you have the proper equipment in there to be able to execute whatever your end goal is. So if you're a high volume truck like we are, you're going to need better quality equipment to execute because you're dealing with volume. If you're a smaller truck, that's going to be working smaller shifts or focusing on smaller events like small caterings or, almost like a boutique food truck or just a smaller operation, then you can get away with, cutting some corners and using maybe, non-commercial type equipment. Just know that it's got its limits and you're going to be limited to working those events because, if you don't have commercial refrigeration, if you don't have commercial cooking equipment, if you're, trying to maybe not be cheap,
Just
but
get by.
trying to get by, it's going to be really hard for you to keep the ticket times that are expected at these larger events. It's going to be harder to move through food, and
Or even to
store
store
it.
enough food.
Yeah.
To store enough food in your truck. Like, that's one of the biggest things that we ran into when we took over American and we launched it, right?
Yep, there wasn't a commercial freezer in there.
There wasn't a commercial freezer.
It was a little
So
chest
so
freezer.
we were working out of a Home Depot special, chest freezer that everybody has in their garage.
Yeah.
And we battled through that for about a month, and then at the end of the day, it was like
this isn't working.
This is not
You have
working.
to be
Like,
smarter.
Right.
Yeah, like we have to make
Yeah.
the adjustments because
And it's a financial investment,
It
but that
is.
financial investment's going to pay off.
yeah,
I promise you.
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you go out to a
And we've
shift
seen
and
the
you put
difference.
5 bags of fries in that, and now I can fit 42
cases
bags. Yeah, I
almost,
can fit
yeah.
42 bags. Like that's a big difference, and you
Yeah.
don't have to go back to the house and reload, or you don't have to have your mom, dad, friend bring you more stuff
Or
from
have
the
it
waste
fries
gas.
out, or have it out on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Like there's a big difference. So the layout of your truck is extremely important.
critical.
So it's important so we talked about efficiency, right? It's important to have the correct layout for efficiency. What about storage? Especially for larger events and things like that. Like, what are some of the things that you can do or tweak the layout of your truck or some of the components of your truck that can help you be able to pack more? And why is that important?
I think that all goes back to the commercial, right? So if you go out and spend the money on a commercial fridge or commercial freezer, you're gonna have a lot more room. And I think that's where a lot of people, fail to realize, hey, let me just work through with this home refrigerator or this home freezer. And you just, it's just impossible.
It's not built or designed
It's not
to-
built. It's not designed to hold the amount of food that you need for your shifts. Like I said, especially when you're running doubles or you're going to do a festival.
So-
like there was a time where we just did the festival on the beach,
Yep.
where all of our trucks can pack, anywhere from the Latin truck can pack the most. Latin can probably put $8,000 to $10,000 worth of food on that truck, right? With the American truck, we could probably put anywhere from maybe 5 to 6, 4 to 6, somewhere around there comfortably, I think. But we had to rent a refrigerator truck. So, I mean, it just all depends on what you have going on.
And what the volume is.
And I think something that's simple that maybe a lot of people know about or don't know about. I don't know. But the Cambros, like those things are awesome. Like they are set up to be able to have you be ready. If you're going to an event where let's say beachside too, that you're gonna do that, you're gonna put up numbers, right? If you're making everything fresh right then and there, right? Because we make our steak fresh for our tacos, we make our chicken fresh for our tacos. You guys make your burgers and all of that stuff.
Yeah, everything's cooked on site.
So for us, the Cambro is like it's a gem.
Yeah.
You take it in and you put it in there hot, and that thing will come out hot.
Yeah, it's just, and that's another part of investing in the correct tools that you're going to need to be able to execute your concept.
It's a little pricey, but again, your return on your investments
It's
is
huge.
what you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think it all just boils down to equipment either. Like it's things as simple as, racks, your ticket rails. I had a guy one of our buddies had a food truck that had a clothesline for a ticket rail. Like, so when you put the ticket up one time, you had to slide it all the way down. If it got stuck or if it fell off, I think those are small, little, cheap things that make a huge difference and impact. And I think one of the other biggest things that we're missing too is having your truck laid out is labor.
Okay, yeah.
Labor is huge.
Could be the difference between running 3-man or 4-man.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things with the old Latin truck, the way that truck was laid out, and because of the size of that
tight
truck,
it was.
you had to run 4-man.
Yeah.
Because every person had to stay at their station. There was no room to be mobile in the truck. The
Right.
person on the register couldn't make
get
it to
past.
the fryers, right? Because of how it was staggered, and you just had no room. Right. That was a 7-foot wide truck, and now you're inside of an 8-foot wide truck.
And
So-
it's not only the 8-foot width, but it's also the
Height.
layout and the layout of the equipment.
Yeah.
Because if you have cooking equipment on the left side and refrigeration on the right side, that leaves very little space in the middle, just because the standard mathematics and the standard measurements of that equipment. So like on a standard stove, for example, it's like 32 inches, right? Or 30 inches.
33 or
But then
something
when you factor in the gas line behind it, the connections, then you're out a couple more inches. And then if you have, a 30-inch refrigeration depth on the other side, then it limits the space. So when you lay it out, you have to take all that into consideration. And if you're building something from scratch, I've seen people do cardboard cutouts inside of the truck where they've put the cardboard on the floor just to kind of get a feel of what that space is going to be like before they purchase equipment or before they actually put the gas or the plumbing or the electric or anything in.
Yeah, absolutely. And like if you spend an extra $2,000 on fryers, or you spend that extra $1,800 on the commercial freezer, but the truck is laid out correctly where you can run 3-man, you're talking about saving yourself $30,000-$40,000 a year
or more.
Multiply that, right? Yeah, multiply that for a little investment of $2,000 or a little investment of $1,500. You know, and that also goes back to the size of the truck as well. You know, are you going to run an 18-foot box truck? Or are you going to run a 12-foot box?
Well, if you run a 12-foot, like we've seen Shula Burger put up the same amount of numbers out of, you know, a 12, 15-footer.
Shula Burger is a different...
With 2 people.
Yeah, that guy's a different animal.
Yeah.
That guy's a different... He drives around in an ice cream truck and can sling $3,000 out of his window
of burgers
at one shift.
Fresh burgers.
And quality.
Yeah,
quality.
at one shift.
Absolutely.
Absolutely insane. That was one of the things when we launched the American truck. That was one of the running jokes I was telling Shula all the time when we worked together. It's like, hey, man, just let me work one shift. I want to know how you do it, man. I want to know how you do it.
Yeah.
So...
and with Wingbox, like we've talked about Wingbox and how, you know, that's one of our trucks in our fleet, how that truck can execute with 3 people and put up consistent, you know, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 shifts. And it's just 3 of them. But again, I think it has a lot to do with the layout of the truck and the size. And that's one example of, because it's such a limited menu and because you're just doing, you know, wings and chicken sandwiches, they're able to run 3-manned and everything is kind of streamlined and the truck is smaller. But that works as a benefit in that situation, because sometimes if the truck's too big, or if you have like one of these ginormous, trailers, then there's a lot of steps in between you and the station or you and the window. So you're working harder because you have too much space. So like too much space could be detrimental as well.
Yeah. And something as easy as, now you bring up Wingbox and it made me think, you know, don't get me wrong, we took everything out of Wingbox and put it back, but outside of 1 or 2 items, everything went back to where it was. But something as small as flipping the doors around.
On the refrigeration.
Are your doors opening from the right side or are they opening from the left side?
Yeah.
You know, and that makes a big difference. If the person that's working that station next to it, do they have to open the door and reach around? Or can they just open the door and go right in? Like something that small is like...
Can make a huge impact.
Huge impact.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we've talked a little bit about social media and the digital impact to the business. What about mobile ordering? Because that's another digital landscape that some trucks are huge fans of, or some truck owners absolutely love, and then other truck owners despise it. They want nothing to do with it. You know, they just want that walk-up customer, and they don't want to have to deal with the systems or the additional printers that are necessary, or the additional equipment, or in some cases, the additional employee. Because some of these systems require another staff member, depending how busy you are, to execute the mobile ordering aspect. So what are your thoughts on mobile ordering?
Well, it's a gift and a curse, right? I'll say that, and I'll kind of just jump into it. So
what are the benefits? What do you think the benefits of mobile ordering are?
Money.
Okay.
Money.
But wouldn't you get the same amount of money if the customer ordered at the window versus online?
Absolutely not. Because
Why?
You're not getting the individual that's sitting at home that doesn't feel like
waiting in line.
You know, yeah, you get the families that come and they put through $140 order. Like you got 6-7 meals or whatever it is, and they're going to be there at the window for you.
15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. But the guy or the lady who's sitting at home, right? Or maybe they're on the way home from work. It's all about convenience.
Or the family. I don't want to take my kids out there and them running around and jumping around, and I got to worry about them potentially getting ran over in a parking lot or whatever the case may be. Like,
it makes a huge difference. It's like it's convenience. It's okay. We'll go the safety route. At the same time, it's just like it could be a lot, but you have to know your limits.
It could be a lot. For the trucker?
For the trucker.
For the team?
For the team. For, you know, while you don't want to lose focus, right? Because while you're on the truck and that bad boy is dinging away, everybody knows, right? Bing, bing, bing. That see money signs, but at the same time, you got to be ready, right? Something that you taught me, because I couldn't figure out how to raise my averages at one point. And you were like, bro, turn your ASAPs on.
Right.
Blew my mind completely. And that was one of the things that really added to the success of the short-lived life of
Caribbean Child.
Caribbean Child. We talked about it, and it was a matter of, hey, Tom, listen, these are the options that you have. You can mold these online options, the online orders, to fit you. Then not only that, let's say you do get a little bit backed up. What do? You set your ASAP times for the correct pickup times.
Yeah, longer amount of times.
Right. So it gives you that buffer zone to be able to accomplish those orders within the right amount of time, having successful, dishes put out the window, and people are still going to be coming to the window and get your orders. But online orders, it's that gift and that curse. The gift is going to be the money that you're going to see. 100%, you're going to see an influx. And don't set your times or your order options so small. Don't put one order for every 15 minutes. Set yourself up to be challenged a little bit, right? Because that's where you're really going to see the revenue, right? So if you do one order per 5 minutes, or maybe 4 orders per 15-minute segments, you're going to be able to see, you're going to feel it. Don't get me wrong, right? But the thing that I stick to with my crew is, hey guys, it's a 3-hour window.
Right.
Let's bang it out.
You got to be able to maximize sales within the 3-hour, the limited time that you have to serve. So online ordering is just another tool that can help you maximize your
100%.
profits.
I think one of the biggest pros to online ordering is efficiency. So when I first started in the food truck business and Carlos introduced us to the online ordering, I absolutely hated it. Yeah. I dreaded it. But then I think once you get the hang of it and once you realize what a powerful tool that is to the food truck, it's game changing. Yeah. And when I say that online ordering is efficient, because it's efficient for the truck, because you know what's coming in.
You can see it.
You can see it.
Yeah.
You can prepare for it.
Right.
It's versus somebody come up to the window and like, hey, I want this, I want this, I want that, I want this. And now you have to turn around and make it right there. With an online order, they pick their time when they want to pick it up. And
you have full visibility to it as soon as the order is placed.
You know what's coming in, so you can prep for it on the truck. You can get it there.
And as Tomas said, you can set the times too. So
Absolutely.
like if it's the
ASAPs shouldn't scare anybody, right?
Right.
ASAPs when you select an ASAP for a truck, it's as soon as the truck can get it ready for you.
Right.
And one of the beautiful things that we have with BFT is when you select an ASAP, if I'm slammed at the window or I'm already slammed with other mobile orders, I can push your ASAP out for 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So when I push your ASAP out for 30 minutes, your food is going to be ready in 30 minutes when I told you, but or sooner, but it's also going to notify you and say, hey, you selected the ASAP. This is when the time is going to be ready. Mm-hmm. But if I can get to it in 20 minutes, once I click it on my end, it lets you know, hey, your food is now ready.
And that's the same for regular orders as well, right?
Absolutely.
It gives the customer progress.
Absolutely.
So like they always know what step it's in.
The pros and cons are I really don't see any cons to the online ordering.
So
right?
I can speak to the cons because
as a food truck organizer,
I hear a lot of it.
I was gonna say that. But I think the pros for a truck is efficiency. And then it also opens another door or another
revenue.
It's not just another revenue. I'm talking about for the consumer base, right? It opens up another option. Yeah, it opens up another option for them to be able to come get their food. At the end of the day, I can't remember the last time I went and sat down at a restaurant and ate. Right? Like I know back in the day we used to do it all the time as a family or friends or whatnot. But nowadays, we're ordering online and
it's on the go. Everything's on the go.
It's either going to be Uber Eats or DoorDash, or if we're here at home on a Saturday, my wife or my mother, will order from a restaurant and just go pick it up.
Right.
So that ordering platform is a must, and it goes hand in hand with, say, your social media or whatever, because that right there is just another stream for you to be able to use.
So can we talk about one more pro that you guys completely forgot about, which I don't understand why, because we're in the season. How about weather?
Wow.
So,
Complete mess.
you know, as much of a struggle as online ordering can be, or managing an online ordering system during a busy shift can be for a food truck, one of the huge benefits, especially in areas of the country like in Florida, which we're in, where it could be a huge plus or it can make a huge positive impact, is weather related events or events where you are dealing with bad weather or inclement weather. So in Tampa, the lightning capital of the world, right? We've got daily afternoon storms. And unfortunately, these storms happen throughout the beginning of the summer months. So like now, you know, over the past 3 weeks and for the next 5 to 6 weeks, we're going to be dealing with daily afternoon storms every day, usually between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m., which is right in the middle of our serving window for dinner shifts. And online ordering makes a huge difference in how many consumers we're able to reach and how many consumers actually come out and purchase from the truck, because instead of having to wait in the rain or deal with it, they can just go online, order online. They know when their pickup time is. They come up to the truck, and a lot of the times we will actually walk their order out to them so that they don't have to get out into the car or get out of their vehicle while it's raining. So, you know, that gives us an edge against, you know, customers who would traditionally order in or have to go pick something up, because now we're giving them the option. Hey, you can order online, come up to the window, and we'll have it ready to go. We'll even walk it out to the car for you in inclement weather. And without online ordering, that wouldn't be an option.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I can't believe we forgot about that one, but it's definitely a huge plus because it gives them.
All right. So one of the things that I love about online ordering too is the feedback portal. So when it comes to, you know, customers that come up to your window and just order traditionally at the window, unless they're giving you feedback right then and there about their experience, then that's all that you really hear. Or maybe they're telling you about the last time they ate from the truck. That's great to hear. But what I love about our online ordering platform, and we use, you know, bestfoodtrucks.com or the BFT app. Shout out to Matt Geller and his team. But what I love about the platform is that it presents a feedback portal for every single order, every single customer that orders from the truck. So after they pick up their meal and you mark it as complete and you say, hey, the customer's picked it up in the system, 20 minutes later, they receive an automated SMS or text message saying, hey, we'd love for you to provide feedback to the truck. And as an owner, you know, I think that is a huge benefit and a huge tool for us to be able to analyze any of that feedback, and it'll help us identify trends, whether they're positive or negative, right? Mm-hmm. So it gives the customer an opportunity outside of, you know, getting on Google reviews or Facebook reviews or whatever the case and kind of beating you up there. They can do it privately, and whether that positive, you know, whether that feedback is negative or it's positive feedback, like you want it, because then you can react to it. You can thank the customer for the feedback, and then you can make adjustments as necessary or invite them back to the truck in the future as well. So, you know, having that online ordering and being able to have customers give you that feedback, I think it's essential to your growth and to the growth of your business.
100%, I agree.
So being an organizer and having trucks, we actually mandate trucks to use our online ordering platform. They don't have an option. So if they want to work our shifts or our locations, they have to order, or they have to use online ordering, and they have to use the platform that we've established. And that can rub trucks the wrong way. And the feedback that I've received, or the negative feedback I've received about the app, is, you know, some food truck owners say we just don't have the staff. They think that it requires, you know, an additional person to kind of handle the online ordering volume, especially at some of our busier locations. So they see it as a negative in that aspect. Some of our owner operators aren't technically inclined, right? So they don't have the skill set, or they don't enjoy the digital aspect of having to manage that system and manage the platforms. Did you want to say something to that?
What about dessert trucks?
Yeah, and then some of them, you know, some of it is cuisine type. Yeah, some of it's cuisine type driven too. So like our donut trucks. We have a couple of them that don't like the online ordering system because they fry the donut as you order it and they want it to be as fresh as possible. And then we have a lobster truck that we work with as well, which is probably the area's most popular lobster truck that refuses to do online ordering because they don't want to jeopardize the quality of their product by offering it.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, with dessert trucks or even with savory trucks, dessert trucks, I know, you have to have a BFT, but they don't. It's not open for ordering, right? It's open for menu viewing.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You can take advantage of the platform and not necessarily have to accept orders in order to take advantage of it, right? So in our case with All About Food Trucks, we do make exceptions, and a couple of them are dessert trucks, and we have some trucks too that based on their cuisine type, we don't require them to accept online ordering, but we do want them to have a profile built out, a menu built out so that the consumer can see it. And it gives you an advantage because they can see what you're offering before without having to come out to the truck. And maybe it entices an extra 5 or 10 or 15 customers that come out that wouldn't have necessarily come out if you didn't have that online ordering link available, even if you're not taking advantage of having the live orders on.
Yeah, and it kind of ties back to your social media presence, right? So even if you, as the owner-operator, forget to post your schedule or forget to post a menu,
they can
one of the good things about working with an organizer like All About Food Trucks is when you guys post and promote these spots on a weekly basis for the trucks, whether the truck is offering an online platform, they still have their menu there, and you guys add that link for their menu so that people can click on it
and we market it
and get an idea of what that truck has to offer.
Yeah, and then another talking point with the online ordering platforms is if you don't have your menu built out on there, if you don't have quality pictures, if you don't have descriptions built in there, you might as well not offer online ordering. And we hear a lot of trucks say, oh, well, people don't like it. They don't take advantage of it. I have online ordering. I've had it. And people just don't order online. And then we pull their profile up and they've got no pictures. They've got no descriptions on there. And it's just not an inviting menu to look at. And when you're talking about the digital consumer, or that first-time customer that may have never eaten at your truck before, all they're basing their buying decision on is what that online menu looks like. So if you don't have high-quality pictures that are engaging or that the food actually looks appetizing, and you don't have descriptors in there or item descriptions in there, then people they likely aren't going to order from your food, or they're not likely to order from your online menu.
I have another food trucker that came to me the other day, one of the desserts, and he was like, he got his first catering. That's number one. Number two, he just put up because of the pictures, and on top of that, he's getting more and more people that are coming to the truck because the time of the conversation, hey man, you should probably put up some pictures. Well, I don't know about that. I'm not really big at that. Hey, listen, man, just take a couple hours, get some nice presentations, snap the photos, man, even if it's just from your phone. I mean, these days, the phone
cameras are just as good as a DSLR almost.
And
every one of our photos for our menus that you see came off of our phones.
# shot on iPhone.
And with that being said, I mean, there's an attestation to it. And this is a conversation literally that has happened within the past week and a half.
Yeah.
And he was blown away, you know? But that's the piece to the puzzle. Again, those little pieces that you change up that will just be able to, it flourishes.
And online ordering platforms, it's one of those things you have to work through the kinks before you know if it's going to work or not. A lot of people launch it and they have a couple of rough shifts with it and they're like, I'm never going to do this again. And they're just missing out. I think it's a mistake long term. Because if you think about like your purchasing habits now, like how much more do you buy online now than you did in the past, right? How often do you go to Walmart? How often do you go to traditional retailers versus how often do you shop on Amazon or even just search Amazon, right? So even if you're not actually buying there, you're doing your research on there. And that's what we are trained to do in this new digital age. So not having at least an online menu built out and being present on those online ordering platforms, you're doing yourself a disadvantage and you're doing your business a disadvantage. And the last point that I'm going to make on there is think about our consumer, especially if you're food trucks that work communities like we do. If they're not buying from a food truck and they're not cooking at home or going out to a restaurant, where are they ordering?
Uber Eats.
Right. So that's your competition. So Uber Eats and DoorDash. So if you've got, a target audience that is spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars per month or per calendar year for their household on Uber Eats and DoorDash, don't you want a small piece of that pie? Like,
100%.
wouldn't you want to take advantage of that and take advantage of those behaviors and be able to maybe steal an order or two or five from Uber Eats and DoorDash during your shift? Because some of those orders are substantial orders. Like, we've had orders on the truck before that are north of $100 for a household, and I think that happens frequently, right?
All the time.
Can I ask? It's going to be a little invasive, but we're open books, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the biggest number that you've done in online sales or through BFT sales on a shift?
Just any given shift?
Just think of the highest number.
1,700.
I've done 24 on Latin.
Yeah.
On BFT.
And I was just I was going there.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
The amount of money that's being left out on the table
By not offering
by
online
not
ordering.
offering online ordering
is huge.
is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
Listen to those numbers. We're talking over
That's in a single
2,000
shift.
in one guys.
And that's not counting
A
walk-ups.
3-hour shift. This is not counting walk-ups.
Yeah.
This is all online.
And we see it on the organizer side when we send trucks out because, we monitor everyone's numbers. We look at their averages for what they're reporting for our different locations. And the trucks that focus on online ordering and really taking advantage of that platform outperform the trucks that are not every single shift.
Okay, so direct statement, stop losing money. Stop losing money. It's not worth it. Get on it.
This guy wanted a thumbnail on this one.
Boom. There it is.
He's Joe Biden.
Yeah, he wanted a thumbnail.
There it is.
Let me look into your eyes.
Stop losing the money.
No, I agree.
They complain about it, but the money is there to get, and you're losing out.
Yeah.
It's so much. Grow.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to Failure is Not an Option podcast. We appreciate all of the support. Please remember to subscribe to our page, like, and share with your friends.
Hey, guys, thank you for watching Failure is Not an Option podcast. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share with your friends.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to Failure's Not an Option podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. We'd love to hear your feedback in the comments.